failure that you're training, that is everything. People think that they're training hard when they're really not. And pretty much all of my girls have had to train harder. And just being able to give them that push to train a little bit harder and actually even know what failure means. Because a lot of the time they were doing like psychological failure, they were doing like failure at where their technique had already broken down.
All right, what's going on, guys? So I'm going to walk you through a quick quad focused leg day, kind of go through the little details and little mental cues that I'm using to help target my quads and just have a good overall training session. First, starting off with the hack squat, I've got about 100 pounds loaded up on here for 6 reps, focusing on placing my feet really low on the platform, and that's going to help me get my quads really involved and also get more depth. Depth is everything, range of motion is everything, especially when it comes to developing your quads. So you want those hamstrings touching your calves, get as low as you possibly can. That's what I'm focused on here. Also focused on driving my knees out as I come down. And again, that's just gonna help me get my quads in a better position. And training to about 2 to 3 RIR in this set, which means 3 reps, maybe 2 reps left in reserve. And that should still be challenging, right? Keep in mind that as you are training to 2 to 3 RR, that doesn't mean that it's easy. It means it's still fucking hard. You should feel a lot of resistance going up on that last rep. So that was set number 1. And then from here, went over to the leg press. Didn't really feel all that good with my knee joints. This is the heaviest I lifted in, months. Honestly, I think this was a PR on hack squat for me, just because I was doing higher reps for a few months before that. But yeah, felt good. Knees were a little achy, but we'll get there. Leg press here, started off with a warm-up set, just kind of getting the hips moving, getting that mobility, making sure I'm getting a full stretch into the armpits. This is what I see a lot of people making the mistake of on leg press. They kind of bring their knees into their chest instead of bringing their knees out. So you'll notice on every quad exercise, I'm using that mental cue to drive my knees out. That's what you want to do here. Knees out and into the armpits, kind of beside the torso, get as much depth as you can. If your leg press has a safety bar on it, put that as low as you possibly can so that you can get that depth. And then if you're still not tall enough, so I have really short legs, I put the seat up a little bit higher, probably mid-range, so that I can get more depth. And again, same thing here, my feet are positioned fairly close together, toes are slightly out, and that's again just biasing my quads here. And I think 2 to 3 RR here as well. So you'll see on my last reps, it's not easy. Okay, I think a lot of people say like, oh, 2 to 3 RR, you're being a bitch and you're not training hard enough. I beg to differ. If you're training within anywhere from 1 to 3 RR, it's still really fucking hard, and you should have good technique all the way through. I think I felt good on these. I think, my strength is really coming back, and that's the thing with training through multiple rep ranges, is that as you go into that high rep range, whether it's like 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, you really develop a lot of skill in your training. You learn to push through the burn a lot more. You just develop a different level of skill that you wouldn't have had you not done that. And then coming back to those lower rep ranges, the strength is just through the roof. So I think I PR'd on all my leg exercises this week, which is really cool. And now we progress into 1 to 2 RR, failure week, and then probably a deload, and then hit the next training phase after that. So yeah, felt pretty good this session. I didn't really talk too much, or really talk at all actually. Just let the camera roll and locked in on my session. I'll probably do a few videos where I talk a little bit, but for the most part I like kind of just letting the camera roll and then doing the voiceover, especially if there's people in the gym and it's loud and lots of shit going on. So I'm gonna go through the next couple exercises here. Cable crunch, you saw me do this in the last video, or last leg day. Same shit. If you want to grow your abs, do weighted exercises. Don't do this shit where you're like doing fucking mountain climbers, or you're doing a plank. Like, that is not hypertrophy based. It goes against everything when it comes to the science for hypertrophy. You need a stretch in the abs. You need a tight squeeze. You need to be curling and crunching the abs with weight, and something that you can actually progress with. If you're just holding a plank, it's gonna help with your stability for sure, but it's not actually gonna grow the muscle in the abs very much at all. So cable crunch is a great option. Focused here on just keeping my hips up, crunching my abs in. I've noticed a lot of people when they do this, they let their butt sink down to their feet or their heels, and all you're doing there is just using momentum to lift the weight at that point. So you wanna keep your hips up, really curl the lower spine, let that squeeze happen in the abs, and you'll feel much more engagement in your abs that way. Then we went to Roman chair to do leg lifts. These are also really, really great instead of just doing like standard leg lifts on the ground. You get more range of motion this way because you can kind of let your pelvis tilt back. And then on the way up, right at the top, you can kind of let your pelvis curl forward as if you're bringing it up into your belly button, like your tailbone up. So that's a great way to get a full stretch, full contraction at the top, just much more range of motion than you would see on laying on the floor doing leg lifts that way. If you need to, if you can't do these yet, you can do like a bent leg raise on these, or you can start on the ground. You can start doing leg lifts from the ground. That's totally okay too. But yeah, those are my 2 favorite ab exercises, and I keep them pretty much entirely in my program year round. Physique update here, sitting around 1,800 calories after the cut a few months ago, building back up. So feeling really good here. Bit of water retention just from leading up to travel with the stress and everything. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you did. Leave a like, leave a comment, and enjoy the rest of the video.
That was the best leg day I've had in a very long time, and I think it's because the rep ranges are different. So for a while there, I was in very high rep ranges, like 15 to 20, which was I was showing you guys last leg day. And now I'm only at like 6, 8-ish reps on most of my stuff, which feels really good. I prefer that rep range by far. Like anywhere from like 6 to 10 reps is where I like, especially for leg day. You know, the isolation stuff on upper body, I can definitely do higher reps, but legs definitely prefer the 6 to 10. Can go a lot heavier as well. I hit a PR on hack squat, so that was nice, and I'm excited to progress with that. It's been so long since I've had those lower reps, and it's paying off because now I can see the high rep range that I just trained in for a long time, paying off in my endurance when I go to do like the heavy, or I guess my cardio. When I go to do my heavy stuff with like 6 to 8 reps, I can breathe a lot better. And obviously when you lift heavy, like you get out of breath pretty quickly. But this, I feel a massive carryover. It feels really good. And I'm excited to just seeing like the level of weight I can lift now, because it's been a while since I did a 6 to 8 rep range. I haven't like tested my strength. So the fact that I'm loading like 100 pounds on hack squat is huge for me. Like my legs have always been a very, very weak point. So for doing 100 pounds for reps is like massive. I was very, very happy with that today. So we did 3 sets of 6 on the hack squat. And then we did 3 sets of 10 on the leg press, which was, I think I also may have hit a PR on that one as well. And it's just the beginning of my training phase. So that's like setting the bar at the bottom from what I get to progress from over the next 4 or 5 weeks, which is like, that means I still have even more in the tank, which I'm gonna try and hit little bits of weight increases each week throughout this training phase until I hit the deload, which will be in around week 5. I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, leg press, 3 sets of 10, and then body weight squats. So again, keeping all the exercises the same, just in a new training phase. Body weight squats, I think I did 30 for 1 burnout set. And then we did the cable crunches and then the leg raises again that you guys saw. So yeah, everything is a little bit fun. It's a little bit more fun now that I get to do higher weight. I get to challenge myself a little bit more. I get to push myself a little bit more, and it's not just like doing fucking cardio on the machines. So I'll be sharing more of that as we go through this training phase and kind of how it plays out. But basically what I do, and right now I'm in a maintenance block, so I've actually gone back down to 4 days per week, which is difficult for me. I fucking like the gym. I don't like going from a 5-day to a 4-day, but I'm doing it because I need that recovery, and I also need to just kind of, let's resensitize my body to the 5 days a week. I don't think that's actually a thing, but I do know that the recovery is a big thing, and right now I could definitely use that extra recovery. So 4 days per week, and yeah, coming in at 2 to 3 RIR. So when it comes to reps in reserve, typically I start my training phase around 3 to 4 or 2 to 3. More recently, I've been doing 2 to 3 RIR because I just don't think 3 to 4 is necessary. And then I progress. So next week should be 1 to 2 RIR, and then the following week either another 1 to 2 RIR or a failure week. And then from there, we do a deload and then go into the next training phase. So that's kind of like how the structure of everything works. Exercises all stay the same, and that's pretty much it. So this training phase I will be progressing through with weight. So last training phase I was progressing with reps, which means that I take a rep range of, let's say 8 to 12, and I start at the bottom in week 1 at 8 reps, and I work my way up with the same weight that I used in week 1, but I just add a rep or 2. So this time I get to progress with weight, which means I stay the exact same rep target for the whole training phase, but I just increase in weight each week. So that's always fun, just kind of testing out the numbers and seeing where I'm at, seeing my strength, instead of always progressing with reps. But yeah, that was the leg day. Now we go home, eat, because I'm freaking starving. I did not bring food with me, which I think I'm gonna start doing when I go to this gym, since it is far away, and I go like probably 4 hours without eating, which honestly for me is a lot. So I'm probably gonna start bringing food, but yeah, gonna go home, eat, and then we have a call with clients. So client call at 4 p.m., which is, we do form assessments. So everybody sends their videos in, we go get on a group call and we assess everyone's form and technique. We give specific feedback for their specific situation. And that's like something that a lot of people miss out on, is the individual feedback. There's a huge difference between like going on TikTok and like Instagram and paying attention to people's form tips, but actually implementing it yourself, and then like also getting feedback on your reps in reserve, which is, like I mentioned earlier, RIR, which is how far away from failure that you're training. That is everything. People think that they're training hard when they're really not. And pretty much all of my girls have had to train harder. And just being able to give them that push to train a little bit harder and actually even know what failure means. Because a lot of the time they were doing like psychological failure, they were doing like failure at where their technique had already broken down. So just real, true technical failure, and showing them what that looks like, really giving them individual feedback on their videos. It's been a big thing. And I think, like I said, a lot of people miss that when it comes to training. So they try and take tips online, which is great. Like, if you can obviously get to a certain level by just doing that, but it's definitely, it makes a big difference when you get individual feedback. So 4 p.m. And then I think, I'm not certain yet, I might have to do a 2-a-day today, which I don't ever do, but I might have to do upper this afternoon after that call. And if that's the case, then I need to get some food in me, because I need to have energy for that session. But I'm traveling all day tomorrow, driving all day, which is going to be like a 9.5 hour drive to Kelowna. So workout probably won't be happening tomorrow. And then the next day, probably won't get a workout in because I'll be with my sister, and I don't think that she's going to want to drive and go to the gym. And I don't have my own car there, so we will see. We shall see. But anyway, I might do a 2-day today. I might do a whole upper session. And then after that, straight to a movie. So we're going to see a movie tonight. Saved a little bit of my fats and carbs for a popcorn. I feel like this is going to be a controversial topic. Which popcorn seasoning do you like the most? I feel like the cheese one is very overrated. My favorite's the dill pickle. Salt and vinegar is my second. And then I forget what the other, I think there's like 1 or 2 more. Let me know what your favorite is in the comments. I feel like dill pickle is definitely a top tier. That would be my first place for sure. So that's what I'm having at the movie theater. And then that's it for the day. This morning, did a bit of work. Went on a walk with the dog, so got her out on a walk, got some of my steps in, and did client check-ins. That was, I don't know why that slipped my mind. That took the majority of my morning, client check-ins, which was really fun. I love, last week we did a live in the community on healthy communication. We did like a Zoom group call. And what does healthy communication look like between a coach and a client, and then how does that carry over to your personal life? A lot of the times we expect people to know something when we haven't shared it with them, and then that resentment can kind of build. So just communicating that with my clients and us having conversation, and really just seeing some of their cool wins about how relationships in their life have really changed since being in the program. That was awesome. And since then, so that was last week, and check-ins this week, those were the first set of check-ins that we've done since that Zoom call, and all of them were phenomenal. Like, people are learning to open up, they're learning to express, they're learning to just share without judgment, and a lot of people don't have that space. Like, when's the last time you were able to go to someone in your life or a coach and say, hey, like I felt like binge eating the other night. I really overate. I probably overdid it. I just wanted to share that and own it, and I want to do better next time. And then the coach doesn't say, get your fucking shit together, like do better. The coach says, it's all good, right? That's going to happen sometimes. Let's aim to make that happen a little bit less. It's okay when it does, but what can we do? What's the solution? And from there, also realizing that, like, you don't need to be perfect. Like, you need to be 90%. That's what I always say. It's like 90% consistent. And for me, like I just told you guys, I'm going out for popcorn and a movie tonight. I fit that in for the most part, but like if it goes over my calories slightly and I'm not in a cut, I'm not too concerned about it. Unless I'm doing that like 2 times a week every week and I'm out of control, then obviously that's going to affect my progress. But like, it doesn't have to be like, I'm obsessed with lifting. I'm obsessed with the gym, and that's why I'm a coach. But most people are not going to be that way, and that's okay. So in that scenario, if you are not, like, sure, you might be obsessed with the gym. If you're watching this, you're probably going to be pretty on point with your macros, but there's also a time to kind of live life a little bit. And once you've tracked your macros for so long, like years and years and years and years, you get really good at estimating your food. And there's going to be times where you intuitive eat, right? You have to earn that and you have to get there. But it's worth it. It's very, very worth it. If you've never tracked your calories before, you've never tracked your macros, it is so worth putting in the effort for like a good couple years of your life, and go through different phases with it. Like, do maintenance, do a cut, do a bulk, and gain the skill. Because you don't just gain the skill of tracking by like, oh, I'm going to track my food for 3 weeks, and then you're like, oh, this sucks, this is really hard, and then you quit doing it, and then you don't do it for another 5 months, and then you come back to it. Like that, it doesn't really build true skill. So like if you need flexibility in your life, which everybody does, then learn to track macros, because eventually you won't have to. Like for me, I'm going to be going into a season here pretty soon after this build is done. So I'm in a bulk right now, and I'm going into a bulk right now. I'm at maintenance. But once I'm done that, I'll probably do another maintenance phase where I just intuitively eat. And I've never done that before, honestly, like responsibly. I've before in the past been like, oh yeah, I'm going to intuitive eat, and then it was not executed very well. But because I've developed skill, in a cut, in a maintenance, in a bulk, that skill carries over, and I respect myself. I have lifestyle habits that I just keep consistent when I intuitive eat. So it's like, it's really not that difficult. But you have to have some sort of structure for a while to be able to build habits and to be able to build healthy lifestyle habits. That's really what it is. If you don't have any sort of eating schedule, and you don't have any sort of like thing that you follow, you don't even know how much 40 grams of protein is, you don't know what that looks like, then you probably should not be intuitive eating. And that's my take on it. At least if you want to see results, or feel healthy, or feel good, or feel energized, or see progress in the gym, blah, blah, blah. So that's my little ramble on that. I don't know where this video will end. I don't know if I'll just cut it here, or maybe I'll show you guys some other stuff. I feel like this one was pretty short. I only got to film like, I think, one set of everything. So yeah, I'll probably not end this here, because I was filming for Instagram and TikTok too, which means I have to vertical film. So I don't know where you'll see me next, but see you then.